This is One Fat Boy, and here are my thoughts on the controversial first half calls for this game and how they set the tone for the rest of the game. In this clip, we're going to see Draymond Green get a defensive foul to Grant Williams when it should have been a clear offensive foul. So I'm going to play the clip now.
This small. So tiny. And that's an offensive foul, I believe. Wow.
Green and Grant Williams tumbling to the court. The foul is going to go against Grant Williams, Jeff.
It does, but Draymond Green, we saw it earlier with Jason Tatum. He's going to...
I'm going to pause it right here. Like, the ref in the top right, I think he should be looking around at least, but obviously the ref that's off screen should have been able to see that Green is underneath Williams. Like, why would Williams be putting his arm around there? But I don't know. I'm not the ref.
Wreak havoc. He just runs right through him. I'm not sure.
But even like the motion, how they fall, I guess the only argument that you put forth was that Williams would have grabbed his jersey and pulled him onto him, but just like how they fell, it just seems like how you'd fall is like Green would be the one who would initiate the contact in order for that to happen, and how they fell.
Exactly what Grant Williams
being this.
And you can tell that the announcers referenced the play with Tatum and Green before on the inbounds play, I believe in like a few possessions earlier, around like the 6-minute mark of the game, which Tatum got a foul because Draymond Green flopped. I mean, was a little contact overall, but this is the finals. This should have just been a play on. Next clip, we're going to see Jaylen Brown, quote-unquote, foul Gary Payton, which in the replays you'll see that Gary Payton is not touched, he just falls on his own, and even the announcers referenced the amount of contact on this play. So it's just a blown call by the refs. So let's just play the clip.
To get the ball in the basket area. That's very, very negligible contact. Good run of the floor by Gary Payton. He probably had a little trauma about the last time he drove it hard like that to his left hand. What happened?
Yeah, you can see the amount of space, the non-contact by Brown. This should have just been play on.
Yeah, got hit by Brooks. Didn't see much contact there, but no.
All right, in this next clip, we have Steve Javy going over his thoughts on the Jaylen Brown, Draymond Green foul, in which there could have been a double tech, which ended up being a both non-tech, a common foul. So we'll just see what he said.
Say nothing, and I would just let it diffuse as that. That's just my opinion.
Well, Steve, my question to you is, as a referee over there in the huddle, are you thinking about the fact that Draymond has one technical already?
Absolutely. I think that's part of good officiating.
That part right there. Do you consider if a player already has a technical foul? Because this does change the course of the game. And if there's already scandals with the refs, like if this was, I don't know, the team that you want to lose, of course you put that extra tech on them, get them out of the game. If this is the Warriors we're talking about, since Green has a personality and a history of chatting with the refs and getting teased, they probably let this one slide, and just being one of the main players for the Warriors, they let that slide, allow him to stay in the game. But I would have lost at this game and seen this as a total conspiracy if Brown was the only one who got a tee. So at least they kind of hid the fact that they were rigging the game with the both non-techs.
Officiating is the fact that you have to know who has the technical fouls, and in this situation, one of the players does. Is this enough to warrant an ejection? Is what you have to think about.
See, a lot of people disagree with that, Steve, but I think that's what separates.
Yeah, like this call, it's like it was in the regular season, and like sometimes in the playoffs, this is a double T right off the bat. You don't want this going on throughout the game, but it's like this. It's almost in the first half. It wasn't even like the first time this happened during the game. Like this should have been stopped a while ago, but yet they allowed Green just to have his way with the refs all game. So if this is what they want, I mean they got what they wanted. In this clip, We're going to see the Jordan Poole and Derek White, how they get tangled up, and see if Poole, the refs decide that he was protecting himself, even though I think in most games we'd seen this as a foul on Poole as he grabbed White's legs, or at least affected how he was going to land. So let's just see how it went.
Good defender, as witnessed by that play.
And I think that is a legal block. I think he took it to the board right at the end, but I would have rather seen him let him complete the play in transition.
So it's more the reach up that I think people are concerned with. It's like if you want to defend yourself, maybe have your arms tucked to you over your face, but I don't know. I'm not in that situation there. So the grab up I think is weird. And I can see that as a foul on Poole, as he does trip a player that is trying to get back on defense. So I see that as a foul.
Position.
I can see the argument where Poole is just protecting himself to make sure he's not getting stepped on.
Yeah, but where I'm from, you can see the
Overall, the effect of the first half, I think it did affect how the Celtics played, as you have 2 fouls on Brown, 2 fouls on Tatum, and 2 fouls on Grant Williams after the first quarter. And that kept the Warriors in the game, besides having the Celtics have like a 10-plus point lead, as the Celtics did have, I believe, like 9, 11-point lead. Without those fouls, I think the Celtics were able to hold that, or like not give up the lead going into halftime. But the Warriors, they did like shoot well in the third quarter, and they didn't need the refs' help for that. But they wouldn't have to overcome a deficit from the first half in order to gain the lead, as they had the lead going into the second half. But I think overall, the Celtics, they lost the game due to their turnovers, as most of that was in the more deciding half of the game, in the first half and the third quarter. So that's like really the main source of the Celtics loss, is just how they were able to handle what they could control. They didn't do that as well, and the things that are kind of out of their control kind of didn't go in their favor. But like the things you can control, you have to win it that way. But the Warriors, they came and won, and we'll see at least like 6 games in this series.